It's time for your daily LSU baseball update with Musso at the box. Now, Matt Musso.
Off and running. Welcome in another edition of Musso at the box. Well, Jay Johnson, he's at it again. This was the one that we've all been waiting for, a proven starting pitcher at the Power 4 level. It's Cooper Moore out of Kansas, big righty, pretty electric stuff that we're going to get into, and a guy that can play multiple roles. But one thing's for certain, he is coming to LSU to factor into their starting rotation. That is the hope. That is the plan, and I'd be pretty surprised if that's not the outcome for a guy like Cooper Moore. You knew it was coming, just not necessarily when. It was largely expected after his visit that he would be an LSU Tiger. Ultimately, he makes that decision about mid-morning on Wednesday after I'd already had an episode in the can on 3 transfers. Thanks, Cooper. But we just get to talk all about it today. And what we'll also do is kind of handicap the race for LSU's starting rotation. What might it look like? I know we're 5.5 months away from the season, and we'll get a much better picture of this in the fall scrimmages, in the winter and preseason scrimmages. But for conversation's sake, now that you've added just another guy into that race, what does that race kind of look like? So please smash the like button, share, get subscribed if you have not already, YouTube and on your favorite podcast app. Follow on social media, Twitter X at Musso Matthew. You can find me Instagram, Facebook as well. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into it, shall we? Cooper Moore played 2 seasons at Kansas. He was a draft-eligible sophomore, obviously made it through the draft. 6'1" righty, 200 pounds. He's out of the state of Oklahoma. As a high school player, he was actually the number 1 ranked catcher in the state of Oklahoma, number 10 overall prospect in the Sooner State, and nationally a top 40 catcher. Since he's gone to Kansas, it has been pitcher only. So there is really no two-way potential there for a guy like Cooper Moore, and nor should there be. He pitched 29 games, all out of the bullpen as a freshman for the Jayhawks, put up some pretty good numbers, an ERA just north of 4, 33 1/3 innings, punched out 31. As a sophomore, he moved into the starting rotation, but it's not just so cut and dry that he was the Friday night guy. We'll get to that momentarily, but he did have 15 appearances. 14 of those were starts for Cooper Moore, and he was pretty exceptional as a true sophomore for the Jayhawks. 7-3 record, 88 2/3 innings pitched, sub-4 ERA. He was awesome. The thing that really, really stands out about him, strike thrower. 19 walks in those 88 2/3 innings. 19 walks. That's it. For his career, his 2-year career, he's walked just 6% of the batters that he's faced in over 116 innings pitched. Very, very good. And you love that if you're LSU. The stuff, real good. Remember, you had to get him through the draft. Like, he took the visit to LSU the week leading into the MLB draft. Silently committed on that visit. You knew the draft was all you were going to have to battle. You got him through. The stuff. Fastball, great sinking action on it. Like, I'd really kind of just call it a sinker. But he does have the ability to move it up in the zone, but it plays better down. Can get up to 96 miles per hour. That's where he tops. He's going to sit more low mid-90s, but when he needs to, he can rear back and find a little extra on it. He has a changeup that has been lethal for him so far for 2 years. 80-83, but it's got a 45% whiff rate. It has great fade, great run on it. 45% whiff rate, and he's got a slider that's not too bad either. I mean, it is 3 real pitches for him, but that fastball sinker and the changeup are really the 2 that mainly stand out. Now, the thing about him, he's a contact pitcher. Like, he is going to give up some hits. but he's also going to get a ton of ground balls. And that allows him to pitch around those hits, as does the fact that he just throws strikes. He doesn't walk anybody, right? So you absolutely love that. But again, for his career, it's a 54% ground ball rate. Last season, as a sophomore, it was a 56% ground ball rate. So the ball is going to be put in play, and you're going to have to play dynamite defense behind Cooper Moore. And that is a bit of a question, given the fact that you are replacing 3 starting infielders who were all phenomenal in the field a year ago. Your outfield defense, that will be fine. I don't really have any questions there. How does LSU play behind him will be key to his success, because the ball will be put in play, and it will be put in play a lot. That's how he pitches. Now, that being said, for his career, he's right at a strikeout per inning. So that's really good. But it's kind of been balanced out. Each of his seasons, he has struck out less than innings pitched. There's more that I like about this guy. His ability to get deep in ball games is outstanding. And it happens in different ways. In 2025, he went 8 innings 4 times. That's beautiful. Some of them were absolutely dominant efforts. Against BYU, he went 8, gave up a run, struck out 10. Against West Virginia, 8, gave up 3, punched out 8. Like, some of them dominant. That's a super regional team, by the way, in West Virginia. Don't we know that? Some of them were a little different. His start at UCF, he went 8 innings. He gave up 4 runs. 3 of them came in the first. Got off to a rocky start. Settled in. Gave up just 1 more run over the next 7. Showed he could get stronger as the game goes along. I absolutely love that quality. That's what you want in a starting pitcher. Think Anthony Ianson. Think Cade Anderson. Cade Anderson, in those 2 complete games he threw, got stronger after the 4th inning and ended up throwing 130 pitches in both of them. Cooper Moore is a guy who gets stronger as the game goes along, and the numbers bear that out. And he also just goes deep into ball games. Talked about the 8 innings 4 times. 8 of his final 10 starts went 6 or more. He can absolutely do it. And you love that. And the stuff is projectable and draftable stuff. Talked about his role. This is kind of another thing that I like about him. So it was 29 games, all out of the bullpen as a freshman, and he was really good. As a sophomore, he moved into the starting rotation. Made 14 starts. But it wasn't just so cut and dry that, hey, you're going to be the Friday night guy, day 1, let's go. He started as Kansas's number 4. Basically their midweek guy. So when you look at this, Kansas played a lot of 4-game sets to open the season. So you had a lot of Monday or Thursday games. His first start came on a Monday. That was February 17th. His third start came on a Thursday to kick off a series. And then he would pitch, actually, the next Thursday. That one was against Milwaukee. In that start against Milwaukee, he went 7 innings, was awesome, but would miss the next 2 weeks. Was some type of ailment. He missed the next 2 weeks. When he returned, he pitched in the midweek against St. Thomas out of the bullpen, just threw an inning to get his feet wet, and from there moved into the Sunday role for Kansas. His first Sunday start was against Oklahoma State. He would pitch Sunday for 3 weeks. On April the 19th, he moved to the number 2 spot. He would pitch there for 3 weeks. And then on May 9th, heading into the BYU game, which was his best start of the season, that was his first foray as the Friday night guy, and he did not relinquish that role for the rest of the season. So this is a guy who has pitched out of the bullpen. He hasn't closed, but he's pitched out of the bullpen. It has started in every single rotation spot in college. I like that. I think that matters. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm making too much of a deal out of that. But I like the fact that this guy pitched midweek, had success, pitched Friday in the Big 12 Conference, had success, pitched Saturday in conference, had success, started on Sunday in conference as well, and had success. I like that. That also just opens up his possibilities of getting on the field at LSU immensely. And make no mistake about it, Cooper Moore is being brought to LSU to factor into the starting rotation. Like, that is the plan. That is the goal. That's why you go get him. He is one of the best available starting pitchers remaining in the portal. Number 44 prospect in the transfer portal per 64 analytics. Another top 50 guy. You nabbed him. It's a big get for LSU. And this is a guy that, again, this is something Jay Johnson's done every year he's been here. He's gone out and gotten a proven starting pitcher. Paul Skeens, Lou Coleman, Anthony Ianson. I'd even throw Gage Jump and Thatcher Hurd in there, even though they were coming off of injury. And it's worked out. And each time those guys have factored in majorly in the rotation. I don't think Cooper Moore is going to be any different. It's just going to be, where does he fit into the rotation? And I think he could fit a number 2 or number 3 role for LSU. And I think I'd be fine with either of those. Before we get into handicapping the rotation race, I want to check my notes and make sure there's nothing else that I wanted to say about Cooper Moore. No, that about covers it for Cooper Moore, the player. So, the rotation and the guys in the mix. And there's a lot of them, y'all. There is a lot of them. This is such a deep LSU pitching staff. I just absolutely am beyond words fired up for the potential of this staff. LSU has added 9 players out of the portal. 5 of them are pitchers. Zach Cowan is back. Kason Evans is back. Cooper Williams is back. Maverick Rizzi is back. Jaden Newt is back. Gavin Guidry is back. Devin Sheeran is back. And a lot of those guys are going to factor in to this race. Kason Evans is going to get first crack at Friday night, and he should. He absolutely should. And if you asked me right now who LSU's Friday night starter is going to be in 25, I'm telling you it's going to be Kason Evans. Like, that's what I firmly believe, and I think that's the best case scenario for LSU as well. So you look at the next 2 spots, and you are looking at a combination of William Schmidt, Cooper Williams, Jaden Newt, Zach Cowan, Cooper Moore, and maybe one of these other transfers that you've brought in. I tend to believe that Santiago Garcia, the lefty, is a bullpen guy. Ryler Smart is the interesting one because I think Danny Lockenmeyer is also a bullpen guy. Ryler Smart out of Tennessee is the interesting one because he was the number 25 left-handed pitcher in the nation. That guy's probably got some starting projects as a starting pitcher. I haven't really looked into him too much, but he redshirted a year ago due to an arm injury. So bullpen's probably the spot for him. So you're looking at 5 guys for 2 spots. You are looking at 5 guys for 2 spots. And I will tell you right now what my preferred rotation would be just to start the season. The one knock I have on it is it's all righties. I know Jay likes to have a lefty in the rotation. Hell, I like having a lefty in the rotation. It just provides a different look. But if I had to guess LSU starting rotation, what I would consider the one that lends them to the most success, right? Casey Evans Friday night, William Schmidt in game 2, and Cooper Moore in game 3. And I know a lot of you are going to hear William Schmidt and scoff at it, and he can't do it and all that. And look, I'm going to spare you the Cade Anderson comp because we've heard that a bunch of times, but a lot of people said the same thing about Cade Anderson. Cade Anderson absolutely dominated the midweek and the pre-conference slate as a freshman, and so did William Schmidt. William Schmidt was so dominant in midweek and pre-conference that Jay Johnson said his days of pitching in the midweek are done. And then they quickly returned because conference play was just too big of a step up for him. The stuff just wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready. But I'll tell you some things that I love seeing from William Schmidt. I love all the time he spent around Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. Specifically Cade Anderson, because Anderson went through what Schmidt was going through a season ago. That's a guy in William Schmidt who wants to be great, who knows he's supposed to be great, and who knows he will be great. So he goes and sponges off of others who are great. So I love that aspect. I love him having a second year with Nate Yeskie. The thing that's going to happen, he's going to have to get more consistency with the curveball and just his other pitches in general. Because the fastball, while it's 97, it just doesn't move. It's straight. And he has to be able to have those secondary pitches, specifically the curveball, because that is his best pitch. That thing is a hammer 12-6 breaking ball that's at like 83 miles an hour. And too often, he didn't have that when he came into the ball game, especially out of the bullpen, and it got himself behind in counts. The walks were the big issue for a guy like William Schmidt. He walked 11 in conference play, and was it 2 innings, 3 innings? Somewhere along those lines. Falling behind in the count was the big problem in the walks. If he gets that in check, William Schmidt absolutely factors in as a starting pitcher on LSU, and I think he's your number 2 right behind Casey Evans. I said Cooper Moore would be your number 3 because I believe that he is here to be a starter. Like, that's just why you went and got him. So what about the other guys? Let's say it doesn't pan out for a guy like William Schmidt. I think Schmidt's going to have a great year as a sophomore. I really do. But let's say he doesn't. Well, that's where you look at these guys like Newt, like Williams, like Cowan, who could factor in. And in each of those cases, well, let me put it this way. Out of those other three, I think Jaden Newt fits a number 2 role the best out of those other three. It's big stuff. The fastball gets up to 97. The splitter's disgusting. He's got a nice little slider in there as well. The stuff from a Jaden Newt plays better in that number 2 role than a Williams or Cowan. So if they do go the route of Jaden Newt, I think you would see him potentially in that number 2 or 3, maybe the 2, and have Cooper Moore be your 3. If it's not Jaden Newt, that's where I think you could see Cooper Moore really bump into that number 2 role, and you go with Williams or Cowan if they earn that spot. So kind of just to rank the hierarchy the way I see it right now, again, 5.5 months out, I think what they would love to have happen is Evans, Schmidt, and Williams, because that's 3 draft picks and at least 2 potential first rounders in Evans and Schmidt. And that's just a really exciting thing to get, a really exciting proposition, to think about. But Cowan, Williams, Moore, Newt, those guys are going to have something to say about it. I think it will be a legit open competition. But you are absolutely expecting Case and Evans to be there one way or the other. Because, he's your best returning arm, who's proven it at this level already. So that's how I see the starting rotation kind of playing out 5.5 months out. Before we exit, quick congratulations to Luis Hernandez. Luis Hernandez on Wednesday signed a undrafted free agent deal. You see this obviously often at this point in time, in after the draft and whatnot. Signed with the Minnesota Twins. So sorry, I had to find it. I didn't remember and I had to find it. Signs with the Minnesota Twins, undrafted free agent. That's awesome. Man, that's a tough way to go about it. He's going to really have to go out there and perform and earn his keep. But man, Luis Hernandez was awesome for LSU and came up with just massive hits throughout him. And he really kind of was the X factor in that lineup. And he'll have to get a little bit better at the catching aspect of things, the defensive catching aspect of things. But the bat can play. I think we know that for sure. So best of luck to Luis Hernandez. He is now he's signed an undrafted free agent contract with the Minnesota Twins, and he will go start his professional career. Awesome to see for a guy who was out of eligibility and still gets to play a little bit more baseball and see if he can get on the radar of the organization even more and move his way up through and take the more unlikely path to the big leagues. We'll be following that. So again, congratulations to Luis Hernandez. All right. That's going to wrap it up here for today. Please smash the like button, get subscribed, YouTube channel, podcast app, all of it. Please share. Be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.